Hello everyone, in this video I'll be ranking the top 5 best weapons in Borderlands 4. This is updated for Ultimate Vault Hunter 7, and it's going to be including both pearlescent weapons as well as legendaries. There's actually a lot of really powerful weapons that are just added in the Raid Boss 2, so we'll first start off with some honorable mentions. And Raid Boss 2 actually added in 3 here that'll be in the honorable mentions, not strong enough to be in our top 5, but we have the Juliet Sparkle here, which is a 33% chance for stars to fall. It's Maliwan, and the Pearlescence will have an additional element on it. It also can come with Jacobs and a shotgun loader, which is the best possible roll, and I'll be showing off the god rolls for each of these. We also have the Gomi here, which is a Jacobs weapon. It can come with Ripper and shotgun swapper as well, which is amazing because it's an assault rifle. And we also have the Constable, which is pretty crazy as it leaves orbs that are impacted by the accuracy of the gun. And Bounty Pack 1 introduced the Mercredi here, which is a assault rifle that can also come with Jacobs, it can come with Torg, it can come with Ripper, it can come with Hyperion. There's a lot of different roles for this one, but I like it here with this. It's going to swap between firing modes every time that you reload, and when it's target locked, it'll get a stacking buff that gives plus 50% damage per stack for upwards of about 250. So here's the Mercredi here. It can come with a grenade or it can come with a target dart. It's better to go with the darts. The grenades will make it a little bit less accurate here. You're trying to get obviously like headshots for easy crits with this type of weapon. Here is the Juliet Sparkle, which I'm a big fan of. And you can see there the stars that it shoots down onto the ground. This is it in the shotgun mode. It also is quite powerful in the SMG, and you can leave little splatters on the ground too. Now the Gomi is a really fun one. It shoots really quickly, and you want to have the Ripper part because otherwise you're going to be spamming your mouse button or your controller and probably giving yourself carpal tunnel in the process. The shotgun loader is my favorite role for it, and the Constable is insane. So it's going to leave behind these orbs, and you can see this is a fire version one, and we're not going against a health bar that is obviously good against it, and it doesn't even care. It's just so powerful with those orbs that it's going to leave behind. It is pretty absurd. And I also did top 5s for each weapon category. I have to cut a lot of weapons from this video just because there's a lot of really good ones, so I'd encourage you to go check those out. They'll be in the pinned comment. But our next honorable mention is the Complex Root. With an Atlas tracker and Ripper parts on this thing can be pretty insane. It's going to have projectiles that kind of warp around and do some insane damage here. My favorite sniper rifle, the Stray. I actually don't have the god roll, I just gave it to Vex for a build that I'm working on for her, but it has a max damage of 24k DPS, but it can also come with different elements. Now we also have TK's Wave here. This is the highest damage version with Torg and the Atlas underbarrel as well. This thing is quite insane, but it's also fun with a Ripper part. And the last honorable mention, I wanted to include this on the list, but I feel like it's a bit unfair because it is a heavy gun ordnance, and heavy gun ordnance actually do get buffs from gun damage because they're considered guns technically. I think this is lately shifted in development to become an ordnance instead of an actual gun themselves, but it shreds, and this is available in Story Pack 1. All 3 of these weapons are from the base game. And here's the Complex Root. So you really want to get the root shot near their head there, so then you can go ahead, and I got the Ripper part there. You see the projectiles, they're pretty silly with what they do. It just incinerates enemies, and this is really good on like a Bloodshot Vex. Here is the Stray. It shoots off 2 additional projectiles that'll home in on enemies. This is not the best damage one. This is actually not a very high damage version of it, but it is really, really good. Trust me on that. And then we also have the TK's Wave here. I'm going to shoot the grenade off on it to give you that extra damage. I don't have the Ripper part on this one, but it staggers, it hits really hard, and what's best about this is it's also going to give the Jacobs extra ricochets around, and it will make your graphics card or console overheat a little bit if you get a lot of the projectiles going, but it's all powerful. And then here is the Heimdall. So it shoots off heads that are going to shoot at the boss there. They get a lot of your gun damage increases, and this thing just melts. Like, honestly, this could have been the number 2 weapon. In all honesty, I just feel like it would have been a bit unfair for me to put this in the top list. It just is crazy, and it empowers Amon a lot. Oh, we got a Pearl and a Legendary, nice. Now for this top 5 list, I'm going to try to keep this as accessible to everyone. So for the first couple, we actually have 2 that I'm going to give a tie to because we have one from a bounty, or we have one from a story pack and one that's a free item. These both are really powerful. I give a slight edge to the Shalashaska here. This is a Jacobs pistol. If you can get the Torg and this possible damage roll, that is the god roll. It is insanely powerful. Its special ability is the Awful Lot. Shalashaska is actually Ocelot's nickname if you're a Metal Gear Solid fan, but what you want to do is shoot this off and manually reload it 5 times. This will give you additional 5 projectiles, and if you're using like a Torg enhancement with this, those extra projectiles will hit the boss multiple times. You farm this from the Ordinate processors, it's kind of annoying to farm, but we also have the Scoot and Shoot, which is actually very considerable. They are very close in terms of their overall power. These are the best pistols in the game. This has rolling deep, so it's going to create phantom guns. This is best used with an infinite ammo build because you can get a lot of these guns shooting off and it just destroys bosses. You want to get the Jacobs and Ripper parts on it, and you can also get a Torque Sticky on it if you'd like as well, and it also comes with elements. I also want to mention the Shalashaska here can come with a shotgun loader, which will lower its overall damage, but I think the shotgun loader is really nice on this. And here's what the Shalashaska shotgun version looks like. Yeah, that's a lot of projectiles. With the Torque enhancement that increases the radius, it just deletes bosses. This is all in Ultimate Vault Hunter 7. Be careful if it gets close to you. And for comparison, here's the non-shotgun version. You can see it's still actually extremely fast at clearing out bosses. The fun thing about this weapon is just seeing those huge explosions, watching out for targets as they rush towards you, because yeah, you'll end up hitting yourself just like that, but its sheer damage makes it worth it. And here's a Scoot and Shoot, kind of similar. You want to keep firing this to get its damage up, but you can see all those extra guns there. Now, the only reason I'd put the Shalashaska above this is because if the boss ends up moving, all your guns stay in the same spot. So you can see there, the time to clear is relatively similar. But yeah, it's a little bit different in terms of the Shalashaska, where you hit the enemy and then you have all the effects happen. You just have to hope that the boss doesn't end up moving too much or the boss is large. And you also have to be careful because sometimes you can end up shooting over the boss if you start from high ground and move to low ground. So yeah, Scoot and Shoot and Shalashaska, the best pistols in the game. It's actually very close, but I think this time the free one wins. And this is the last tie, I promise, but we have a base game weapon with the Dark Beast, which got a really nice buff, insanely powerful. The bullets will naturally pierce, so you can use different things other than high caliber for the setup. But it can also come with these shotgun parts here. So that is what you want to get on this. With Ripper, Jacobs, and Shotgun, this thing's crazy. It also will cause explosions with a 20% chance. It used to be 5%, much better of a buff. This is one of the best weapons for Bloom Reaper because you can line up 2 of the crystals and then they're going to pierce through. If it's a critical hit with like the crit knife, you can have that pierce around and ricochet to multiple targets. And those explosions take care of vile enemies. And it'll always shoot in 2-round bursts real quick. I personally really enjoy this weapon. It's one of my favorites. And it can also come with a Maliwan license underbarrel instead of the like dataless one there, so you can get a choice between elements. Otherwise, it'll always come corrosive. It's one of the downsides. Any weapon that gets locked to a certain element is a little bit different. Still very strong. This weapon is also locked. The Flash Cyclone. This is from the bounty or the story pack 1. This thing is insane because it's also splash damage. So it is another really powerful weapon against Bloom Reaper. It also shoots really quickly. Here are the 2 god rolls. This one is the higher damage version. Personally, I like the higher fire rate. This one gets another bullet and like a little bit of a bullet per second. So if you're using like gloam to glow cash, this will be a little bit better for him, but it has a chance on hit to explode and spawn additional projectiles. And these explosions do 800% gun damage, and it'll spread 3 projectiles around that'll do 200% gun damage. So very powerful for mobbing and bossing. Now here is the Dark Beast with the Ripper parts. It's insane. I have the shotgun loader going on. That is absolutely insane. Once we get to the bigger health, or to the armored health bar there in a second, you're gonna see how fast this truly shreds in Ultimate Vault Hunter 7. This thing is really fun to use. You do have to watch out because when using this thing, it will end up exploding just like you saw there. But since it's Jacobs, it's gonna ricochet around. Those explosions can kind of hurt you though, so you just gotta be mindful of that when using it, but it's more than enough power to get through anything. And I'll also show the SMG version of it. This one, I have it swapped to the shock so that it deals with the armor, or to the shield a little bit better. The shotgun obviously does a lot higher damage. Some weapons, when put into the shotgun mode, are just absolutely absurd. This thing is still really good. Just, obviously we're in Ultimate Vault Hunter 7, so that does change things. But the shotgun on this one is miles better, in my opinion. So we're going to swap it then to the corrosive version here once we get to this health bar. And yeah, you see it there. This thing is crazy strong. Again, the bullets are going to pierce, which is fantastic because this means that you can line up some extra crit damage. You can do a lot of fun things with it, and it's my favorite weapon to go against Bloom Reaper again because you can just line up those vile crystals and destroy them. Yeah, it sends things flying. And here is the Flash Cyclone. Now this thing will only come in the cryo version of it, so that is one thing about it, but it's a very powerful, what I think to be, this is probably the true strongest SMG. It's just the Dark Beast does have like the advantage of having like a shotgun loader and things like that, and this one's a little bit more RNG as you only have a 5% chance of getting that explosion. But you can see there, when you get the explosion, you see the health bar just absolutely get melted here. It's a strong weapon and the best SMG. Although I do slightly prefer the Dark Beast, both of these are amazing and really fun to use. I also did want to give a free version of each just for this, but our next one is actually from Story Pack 1. And I will note that number 3 and number 2 are very close to each other, with number 2 being a one that's available for all players. But the Crazed Earl, this thing shreds. They broke it and then they fixed it back to where it was. This will give additional shards that stick on enemies, and mailing them will make the shards explode and send it towards nearby enemies. This is the best possible roll with 30k DPS, and honestly, it's crazy. With the Jacobs on it and it's a Ripper gun, this thing is just shreds. You can get a variety of different rolls. With the Pearl Essence having like very wide ranges in damage, you can actually get some that are like 12 or 13k DPS at level 60. They also changed how the shards get, so you actually have to use a melee attack. Previously, you could toss out a Slippy and it would work, but now that doesn't seem to be the case. I'm just going to use the fire one against this boss here, who is strong against fire, which is fine. You're going to see, though, it doesn't much matter. Once you get a bunch of these on, you just go in and melee. Goodbye health bar. It just deletes it. So this thing is really funny because it just does so much damage when you go in for a melee and you're using a shotgun. You're going to get close anyway. And I'll show you even a non-god roll here, so it's still insanely powerful. These shards will glow, so your PlayStation or graphics card might get a little bit hot, but you can see the damage from this thing is just so powerful. It is a fun weapon to use, and yeah, very strong. Shotguns across the board in Borderlands 4 are very powerful. I did a full video, and there's a lot of honorable mentions in that one, so you can go check out that video for more, because there is a lot of really good ones in this game. Which is a perfect segue for our next one, the Mantra. This thing is crazy. As mentioned though, number 2 and number 3 are very close in their overall power. You get this one from Bloom Reaper. It deals melee damage. Now, you don't even have to be a melee build. I'm not even using one. There's the build. I'll have that linked in the comments. But as long as you toss on bare arms here, this will give 50% of your gun damage increases to melee damage. What's funny about that is this takes bonuses from gun damage, because it is a gun, and it'll now take 1.5 times those gun damage increases because it adds it to the melee. This thing is insane on like a Reverberations Vex because it can trigger it easily. It's great on Amon, it can work on Rafa. It is a really versatile weapon. Kind of like the Face Puncher. It's a melee damage gun. It's gonna be good. And you can see it in action here against Subjugator and Thole in Ultimate Vault Hunter 7. What's crazy about this is that you can have those Jacobs ricocheting around, but it's melee damage, so it triggers Reverberations, which you can then use Groundbreaker to trigger. And it's Maliwan, so it comes with a bunch of different elements, and you can get like these Slippy grenades there to further go all crazy on the melee damage. Yeah, this thing absolutely shreds. Reverberations is such a crazy skill for Vex, but even without it, you don't even need a build like that, but it deletes. So powerful. And I'll have that build linked in the comments as well, but even without a perfect roll, this thing is crazy. You want to get Jacobs and Ripper on it. That's like the mandatory, and it'll always come with the Maliwan Swapper, so you get 2 elements for the price of 1. And it hits really hard. It also does splash damage. So this is another weapon that's really good at dealing with Bloom Reaper. Just be mindful that it's not a multi-projectile weapon. So you can see Harlow is struggling to hold the infinite ammo on it. It's more RNG dependent. You got to make sure you don't miss any shots. But having 2 elements is really nice because that lets you just melt bosses like this. You can see those arms flying around too because it shoots off little arms. It's so cool. It's actually punching. And it and the Crazed Earl are very close in power. This thing is just so good because it opens up a lot of builds and lets them actually be viable in the game. And the damage is very comparable, as you see. You don't have to get into melee. Unfortunately, this deals melee damage, but it doesn't actually trigger. Like, you can't use this to trigger the Crazed Earl. But you saw it there. Very fast clear times. And the splash radius is 50 centimeters, so it actually has a really good splash zone. So if you want a farm splash zone, use this. And fun fact, it opens up chests, so you can use it to just, if you want to, open chests for yourself. And the unfortunate downside to both of these shotguns, ammo. That is something that these will require you to chew through, so just be mindful if you're not using something green Harlow, you may run out of ammo. But the thing is, with a blue skill tree Vex, you can actually clear the new raid boss, Subjugator and Thole the Invincible, without running out really, really easily. And for our best weapon in Borderlands 4 at the current moment, this is basically the Norfleet, the Crow Source. This has a Halo 2 reference, and we had to share the rock, but it fires off random projectiles. It's an order gun, so it gets any of those nice benefits from things like active fire, which you definitely want on here, because when you shoot off at max charge within 0.5 seconds, you get 100% extra damage dealt. Further stacking this with the enhancement Prima Diem here, you get Power Shot, which gives 30% extra damage when firing from maximum charge, and you have a 30% chance to make the next charge time and ammo cost 0. This free charger is insane because you can then just fire off a fully charged one, get all the crazy damage buffs, and it doesn't cost any ammo, and it comes out immediately. This, like the Norfleet, just enables so many builds, and you can see here, this is a Bleed Vex. It melts, absolutely melts. with it being able to just destroy everything. It also has like a lot of properties to get splash damage. It gets a lot of different things here, but you do so much damage with this thing. It's easy to clear Subjugator and fully invincible with this. It does do splash again, so you can hurt yourself, especially with like these projectiles that fly in your face. But again, it just does so much damage that you don't have to worry that much about it. So, and you can see huge amounts of health going down on Thol. This is a Vex build in a green skill tree. Again, I'll have this also linked in the comments. But I'm not going to use the enhancement. I'll just use active fire here, so you don't have to fully min-max. This is the best possible roll with 25k DPS. Another thing about this is the fire rate differences. This was 7.6 seconds of charge time. Skillcraft, or active fire's number 2 tier will actually increase that amount. But if you get one that's 10.6 per second, that's the fastest charge up speed, and the fire rate dictates that. It can actually shoot off really quickly, so you don't even have to worry about having the perfect roll for this thing. It just melts and melts and melts. Yeah, that's 2 bursts. Got rid of its entire health bar. You can see how much stronger this is than the other guns here. You want to try and time it perfectly. Remember how I said number 2 and 3 were close? Well, this one is on a whole other level. In between tier 2, there's like 5 entire games worth of guns. This thing is just a powerhouse of a weapon. This can actually get Rafa, the Ultimate Vault Hunter 7 Platinum time. It can do a lot of really good things. It is so powerful. Also, dropping active fire just further boosted this thing up. Even without active fire, it is still the best gun in the game. As I mentioned though, the Heimdall is another really powerful weapon. I didn't want to put it on this list because these are more traditional guns, but Crow Source, just so crazy powerful. This is the best Borderlands 4 gun right now. Really hope they don't nerf it in any regard because it is actually a pretty fun one to use. And if you want to use it for traditional sniper, just use this thing. It is so much better than snipers in this game. That's why I didn't have any snipers in the top 5, just because everything else here does it just a lot better. Well, there you have it, folks. That is the top 5 best weapons in Borderlands 4. Subscribe if this video is useful, and feel free to leave a comment below with what gun you think is the strongest. But you can see it here, folks. It is definitely the Crow Source. So yeah, have yourself a great day.